How long you think it was gonna take before we got here? Now you gotta prove yourself all over again. Come on.
Ain't nobody coming, I've been gunning from 100 yards, trying to hit my mark, missing every time. This'll be the start of the picture perfect. Watch
Mr. Terry, good morning. Welcome to, what do we call it? Hollywood Hay Hump Day.
That's it. Hollywood Hay Hump Day. I like that. So
Hollywood Hay Hump Day. We just got to get a camel now. So we can have our own version. Hey, you know what day it is? Hey, what day is it? What day? It's Hollywood Hay Hump Day. Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. Where do we get a camel?
I think from Arabia.
Yeah, but I mean, we're not there now. We have to rent one here.
They used to have them in Benicia, but they don't have them there anymore. They have camel barns, but there are no camels.
Camel farms, but no
barns.
Barns.
They call them the camel barns.
Good morning, Robert. How are you this morning? Hopefully we have some good stuff going on here. Good morning, Michael from Texas. How are things down in the Lone Star State? Hopefully the oil because you're in the oil part of the state, right?
Yeah.
Which is probably all the state down there, including the Gulf. Last night, had to sub in for our good friend Julie. Had a nice conversation with a young trainer. Might be a young trainer, but boy, those bloodlines run deep, as our good friend Willie Martinez said. Linda Rice nephew, or somewhere on that family genes, all the way down to the Beatty family into Florida. So definitely a lot of fun talking to him about just horse racing in general.
Yeah, I really liked it. It was a really good interview. He's very, he's very forthright and mature sounding, and he's, honest, and he knows how things go. So.
Well, the family's been around it for a long time, so he probably knows the ins and outs better than most. Tonight, Sean and Julie will return. They're going to have a good guest on tonight. It's going to be former jockey, now motivational speaker. That is Eurico da Silva. So in the event you're in the need for a little bit motivation, or you're already motivated, but you want to take it from 9.9 to 10. So like a human Monster energy drink, make sure you tune in tonight for Enrica da Silva and Julie and Sean. They should really pump that up, I think, pretty aggressively, Terry.
That's right. Sounds good.
And that'll be on tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. And the best way to make sure you don't miss any of our picks, any of our shows, or anything that we do around here, Terry, is what?
Subscribe to YouTube and then hit that little bell so it tells you when we're coming on. Give us a like and, a thumbs up. Go to our social sites such as Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and go to the Horse Race, the number 2 day. Give us likes and thumbs up, and also let everybody know that we have a show here and that you like it and you want them to see if they can get involved too.
Beyond that, we do a lot of stuff here that nobody else does, Terry, like the C-Zone. We do the simulations.
Yes.
So, and there's more stuff coming on that data side too. So stay tuned for all of that. Yesterday, I couldn't make it. My car just, I don't know what happened. If this has ever happened to anybody else before. I know Sean was telling me after the show yesterday. I was driving and then, first a little battery light came on. Then my battery died. And then I got jump started. So I figured, all right, started, I get home. And all of the energy, all of the power just went out. The speedometer wasn't working. The gas mileage wasn't working. I don't even know how I got home because all these new cars with technology, they use electronics to do the fuel injection. So
yeah.
Somehow I got home. It's horrible.
Well, I'm glad you did.
Yeah, I'm better than being stuck down in Chicago still 24 hours later. I could have walked home by then.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is with all the construction here, you could probably walk downtown faster than you can drive right now. All right, so race number 1, nobody cares about this, except for truckers and people who are stuck in that traffic. Nobody cares about that stuff. 7 furlongs, claiming 5,000 non-winners of 2 in a year. The purse here, Terry, is $13,500. So we like to do here, we talk a little bit about the profile of a winner, so we can understand the type of horses that tend to do the best. 7 furlongs on the Tampa dirt track does favor early speed. As many as 30% of the time, the horse goes wire to wire. And there's an interesting, very strong outside to inside bias. So the farther you away from the rail, the better you are. I don't know why that would be. As I mentioned, we do 1,000 simulations here to see who will have the lead at the quarter mile marker, using the speed figures to figure out where we might find value for betting. And then a C-Zone, which horse is likely to get the most comfortable trip in here, Terry? Tell us what you can decipher from all this.
Well, it looks like to me that 5's got lots of speed in it. Should get to that quarter pole first unless it has some trouble in the beginning. Who's going to give it some competition is probably the 4, maybe a little bit from the 3 and the 6. But as far as the overlays go, the 5 looks like a really pretty nice overlay. It's supposed to be less than even 1, and it's listed on the morning line as 5-2. And as far as the C zones go, well, there's a couple of horses in there, number 1 and number 4, who've got some C zone information, and also that 6.
Yeah, but none of them really look like they're going to be all that comfortable in this
No,
spot.
they don't.
They don't at all. We also put together the way to the winner's circle worksheet. I got this automated now, so it looks a lot better. So you can see so far this race, either you have speed, the 4 and the 6 to get to the front, the pressure types, the 1 and the 5, the 2 and the 3. So it's a really balanced race. I would expect a lot of times you'll see horses that get to the front probably have a good shot. In this case, you see the 5 horse, Cizilla, the pressure horse, might actually move up over to here to be one of the leading horses. It does have a 6-point late pace advantage over everybody else in this field. And the late pace numbers for that 5 are pretty much on target with everybody else too, right? Except for maybe the 2 horse, who does have an advantage over everybody else. Combine the early speed and late speed, and it looks like the 5 horse has a little bit of an edge, most likely to run the most complete race in here, Terry. That's one of the reasons why I put the 5 horse as my first pick. You went with the 4.
I did. The 4 finished third versus similar in her last race, and her best dirt speed is the fastest among today's starter. But then I have that 5 horse. She won her last race at Parks Racing, and she has the highest last speed rating. And then number 2, Beautiful Tiz, is my third pick. She just does not like turf as of late. She used to do pretty well, but the last couple of times she hasn't done well. So she returns to dirt, where she's done a lot better recently. Has a high percentage trainer and switches to high percentage jockey. Number 1, the long shot drills Valentine, drops in class today, and the distance should not be a problem. I'm going to play a 50 cent pick 5. I'm going to play the 4-5 with the 2-3 with the 5 with the 2-6 with the 2-3 5 8 10, and I'm going to play a dollar daily double with the 4 and the 5 to the 2-3-5.
Yeah, I was considering pick 4 here or pick 5, Terry, as well, but it just a lot of these races I felt like were kind of wide open. I went with Cizilla, the 5 horse, the top pick. It looks like it should be the one that is on the lead, where 30% go wire to wire. And on top of that, it has that early race advantage. And last time out at 7 furlongs, ran the same fractions that it did at 6 furlongs. So you go longer, but run the same. That's faster, in my opinion. Number 4, Ready to Film, your top choice. This one that has stronger through the first half mile in its last race. Again, Craig Mikowski from Timeform US said when those first half mile pace numbers improve, it's always a sign of a horse. No, not always, but most of the time a sign of a horse that's becoming more fit. Number 3, Rapidamente. So get faster now, damn it. Last race was better than it appears in the past performances, with much stronger pace numbers. And I have pace capitalized here, much capitalized through the first half mile. And then finally, Beautiful Tiz, as you mentioned, Terry, got to toss out that last race. Didn't like the surface, or perhaps the level of company was a bit too stiff. So back to a level where she ran comfortably and competitively before. I'm going to do a pick 3 with the 4-5, with the 2-3, with the 2, 3, 4, and 5. I really couldn't get much deeper than that out of fear, Terry, that some of those other races could be very difficult to pin down to 1 or 2 horses, which is what I try to do with I got to find a race where I can pick 1 or 2 and then go ahead and put those 2 just in there and then work around that. So I build my ticket from that way out, not from race to race. How do you build your pick 4 tickets?
I actually I try to look for a key is what I do to start with. And then if I can find a key or a race with only 2 horses that I think are good, then I look and try to spread in the races that I think is going to get some kind of a long shot.
Yeah, it's the same thing I do. I try to find a key horses or a couple of them that I can start my ticket off and then work my way around it in the other races. How about you folks, when you're putting together race-to-race tickets, how do you construct them? Let us know in the comments section. If you have any picks today that you like at Tampa or Parks or whoever's running Mahoning Valley, which happens to be today's free track over at Guaranteed Tip Sheet. There's a link in the description down below. You can click on that and you'll see Mahoning Valley in race number 1, the 5 horse Soulstone. It's the one we think will probably get the job done. In race number 2 at Tampa, Terry, they're going to run 7 furlongs again. As we mentioned, at 7 furlongs, early speed does well, particularly on the outside, 30% of which can go wire to wire. In race number 2, our simulation says that the horse on the inside is probably the one that's going to have the lead. You
got to unmute myself.
Well, you're not really echoing, so don't worry about it.
Okay, I won't mute myself then. Yeah, the one looks like it's got the most speed, and one should get that quarter pole. It's got that advantage of that rail too, but the 3 and the 5 may have a little bit to say about it. As far as the overlays, there's only one really overlay, and it's a very small overlay. It's supposed to be almost 2-1 as far as simulated odds, and it looks like it's 5 to 2 on the morning line. And then the 4 has the most comfortable percentage that you see there, comfort zone. So that'll work out pretty good.
Yeah, the 4C, which should get a trip that it is very happy with. The pace in that race should set up nicely for the 4 horse. That's what the comfort zone tries to measure, the pace and how the horse has performed in races with similar pace. Looking at this race, we do got a first-time starter over here with the 6 horse. And most of these horses so far really haven't shown a whole lot, haven't been within 5 lengths of the winner. That's why they get the never close. So the 2 and the 3 are the 2 so far that have shown some interest. The 2 is probably going to be forwardly placed, although you do see with the early pace that it does belong to the 1, but it doesn't have that distinctive advantage over anybody else in here. The late pace advantage in here belongs to the 2 horse. It has a 9-point advantage over anybody else. So that's almost 2 lengths when they're coming down the stretch. And if you put together the early pace and the late pace, looks like a competitive race between the 2, 3, and 5. Most likely one of those trio will come out as your winner, Terry. What do you think?
I like the 3, Broken Hearts Bay. She finished 3rd versus similar to her last race, has a high percentage winning trainer. This trainer wins 30% of the races when bringing back a beaten favorite to race again. And she has a high percentage winning jockey. The 2, who's very competitive to her too, I mean, very close to numbers to hers. I had a hard time deciding which one to put first. Arrowboat, she drops in class today, can improve while returning to a sprint, and she has a good furlong workout on March 26th. Number 5, Stellar Nova, drops. She finishes 4th versus similar to last race and has a high percentage winning trainer. She's my 3rd pick. My 4th pick, Sea Witch, can improve while returning to dirt, has a good workout of 49.2 breezing for 4 furlongs. 23rd best out of 103. And my bet in this race is pick 4. I'm going to use the 2-3 with the 2-3-5 with the 2-6 with the 2-3-5, 8, and 10.
Well, I hope you catch some shots in there and get a big one on the back end, so you get a nice fat reward for that, Terry. In the 2nd horse race at Tampa Bay Downs, you and I agree on the first 2, Broken Hearts Bay. Did run the top last race, speed figure as a beaten favorite, as you mentioned. Trainer John Arnett, who we visited with when we were down at Tampa, nice barn down there. He does rebound at 30% the next time around the track with a beaten favorite. This horse has gone off on the Tampa Bay track 3 times with a couple of 3rds and a 2nd. Still looking for, as all of them are, its first win. Number 2, Arrowbolt, dropping from a maiden special weight race at a higher level, and that was at Gulfstream Park, was well bet in 3 races and ran evenly in all of them. So maybe the horse can make, we talked about this on Saturday when we were doing the Gulfstream Park pick 6, how horses that go from Tampa to Gulfstream tend to struggle a little bit. You see those numbers come down a touch. And then on the flip side, horses that go up to Tampa from Gulfstream, you see their numbers tend to rise a little bit. So I think the 2 horse will benefit from that here. The 4 horse, Sea Witch, if you move it, this one's moving back to dirt and cutting it distance from its last race, which should help, especially if you can run just 2 races back. And then finally, the monster Iris. Well, I don't know who Iris is, but apparently Iris is a monster. It's a tough call for me over that 5 horse, Terry, Stella Nova. But just looking through the workouts on the 5 are better, on the 6 are better than the 5. So a first-time starter maybe pops up in here. Again, I had a hard time putting together a pick 4. Just too deep to me in too many races with horses that have a shot. So I just went my trifecta 2-3 with the 2-3-4 with the 2-3-4-5 and 6. Let's look at the screen here real quick, Terry, and see what we got. 2 minutes to post for race number 1. Hello, let's see, Melvin. Good to see you again. Right.
Look at
So
that.
he has a pick 5 starting in race number 1. He's going to go with the 1, the 3, the 4, and the 5. So Melvin thinks the first race is kind of open. In race number 2, he's soloing up the 2 horse there, Terry. You and I have the 3 horse first. And then he's got the 5 in the third race, just like you, Terry, singling up that 5. And then in the fourth race, the 4, the 5, the 2, and the 6th. And then in the fifth race, the 3 and the 5. So the, kind of a little bit of some different thinking there. You both agree on that 5 horse, a little bit of disagreement on the 3 and the 2 horse in race number 2. Let's go back real quick to our picks for race number 1. Terry, there's your pick 5. You have the 4-5 in this race with the 2-3 in the next race with the 5. So both you and Melvin singling that 5 in race number 3. In race 6, the 2-6 for Terry, and then the 2-3, 5, 8, and 10 in the 5th race to close it out. I'm just going to do a pick 3 here for 50 cents. Again, I think, like you too, in race number 5, Terry, it's wide open as well.
Yeah.
Boy, that one horse is really good looking down there at Tampa Bay Downs. Have you seen it? It looks like it's just like a ghost almost.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty.
Yeah, and they're still kind of roaming around down there. So you want to set up race number 3, Terry, or is there something you would like to talk about before we talk about the race 1?
No, we can go ahead and do number 3. That's fine.
Yeah, let me just take a quick look and see if they're at the gates yet. All right. Are they at the gates? I can't really tell if they're at the gates. It says we still have a minute to post. All right, so let's just set up race number 3, Terry, and then we'll move on. Yeah, they're still a little way from the gate there. So for race number 3, they're going to run on race 3. I think this one's a turf race, if I remember correct. Yes, 1 mile on the turf. It's allowance $25,000. This one is for Florida Owners Awards, 4-year-olds and up, which have never started, for a claiming price of $25,000 and less in 22 and 23. The 1 mile on the turf winner typically has tactical speed. So 3rd, 4th, maybe 2nd in there, although 21% do go wire to wire if they hold the lead at the quarter-mile marker. If a very small inside to outside bias, Terry. So the horses on the inside maybe get a little bit of an edge, but really not a deal maker and or deal breaker. In race number 3, the speed belongs to Cajun Casanova. Now, Terry, he's not from Louisiana. He's from California. And you can ask Honeybee. He's a Casanova too.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, she would probably say that. Anyway, yeah, that 4, look, it got a lot of speed in here, and I really think that it's going to go out there first. The only overlay is the 1, which is a really nice overlay. It's supposed to be like 9-2 simulated odds, and it's 15-1 on the morning line. And then the 4 is supposed to be like 7-2 or 5-2, and it's 12-1 on the morning line. And so as far as the comfort zones, look, if they all get to where they want to be, their comfort zones are all about good, except for number 3.
Yeah, and that 3 horse might be a situation where it's more forwardly placed than where it's run its best before, which is a benefit, not a negative. Something that we're going to add in there is a plus sign down there, down the line. And that's probably what's going to happen, because the 3 is typically a closer, as you can see here. That 4 horse is out there as the lone E. Could have a good shot to go wire to wire. You see on the early speed, indeed, that 4 horse has a 10-point lead over anybody else. It means it's 2 lengths faster to the quarter-mile marker. When they're coming home, a 10-point lead for the 5 horse, Harrow. So you could have a case of a horse getting out to the lead, kind of slowing down, and then to see if the 5 can chug up and pass them at the end. If you put together the early speed and the late speed, it looks to me like the 4 and the 5 have a slight advantage, although, yeah, if you take out maybe the 3 horse, and it's all pretty similar in their competitive race, I feel like. All right. They're about to run race number 1, Terry. Let's go back to our picks for race number 1, and let's see what happens in race 1.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. So it looks like you got the 4, the 5, and the 6 left to load. According to our speed, our speed simulation, the 4 and the 5 should battle it out when the gates open. Let's find out if that's what's happened, Terry.
Yeah, looks like they made the 2 the favorite, though. 7-5.
The 2 horses, 7-5. The beautiful Tiz.
Yeah.
Well, for both of us, we better hope it don't win, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't have it in my pick.
Yeah, he's the 7-5 favorite. Sammy Camacho on the horse, with Pablo gone for a bit, recovering from that hand that might be the reason why. And as expected, the 5-horse did break to the lead. Going to get a little bit of company with the 4, although it doesn't really look like any of them are pressing the pace right here at all. The 4-horse has stepped out as your leader. 5-horse is a little bit more patient today than one might expect. So you have the 4 about a length ahead of a trio of horses, which include Rapidamente, and then the 5-horse, Casilla, and then the 6-horse, Calanunda. There's a nice break to them of about another length to the 3-horse, Rapidamente. They go through the opening quarter in 22 and almost 23 seconds for 7 furlongs, maybe a little bit on the quick side, but not overly fast. The 4 and the 5 continue to hold the lead. That 3-horse right now is moved into third place with the 1 on the rail, looking like that ghost horse is slowing down a little bit. That 2-horse, that favorite, is starting to make its stride as they go through the opening quarter in 46. Probably a little too fast, maybe, for that 5-horse. The 4-horse, the 5-horse is trying to make up some ground as the 4-horse kind of drifts out in its path. They're coming down the stretch here. The 2-horse is trying to make a rally wide on the outside. It's going to have to make up a lot of ground as they come to the finish line here. It looks to me like this race is going to go 4, 5, 2, and 3. 4, 5, 2, and 3. So we're both alive, Terry, on our pick 5. Your double is alive, and my pick 3 is alive.
Yeah, and they actually made that 4 to 6 to 5 right as the gate opened. It dropped to 6 to 5. So
don't you just love that, Terry?
Oh yeah, it really gets me. So
that late money comes in right as the gate opens, and you get beat up like that. All right, well, good news.
Yeah,
4, 5. We right in there. Our simulator said those were the 2 horses to look for. Those are the 2 horses that did well. And maybe the difference between the 4 and the 5 here, Terry, was the fact that the 4-horse was going to get a more comfortable trip according to the C-zone.
That's right. And I also got the trifecta if you played that. I'm glad Melvin's moved along too. So
I think you got the trifecta and I got the superfecta as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's probably going to be low paying. And I think we're better off with the pick 4s than we would have been in the pick 3s than we would have been with the exactors or the trifectas. Because
that's what,
favorite. Maybe the 3-horse in there mixes up things up. I don't know.
Yep.
In terms of the superfecta, but I doubt it. All right. So race number 3, Terry, we went through the formalities and the setup for race number 3. So now it's time to make our picks for the third race.
And the third race, my pick of the day is the 5, Harrow. He finished in the money in 6 out of 8 races at Parks Racing. So he likes this track. When he won his last race, he likes the distance finishing in the money 3 out of 4 races, and he won one of those. Then I like the 2 as my second pick, has won his last 2 races in a row and goes for a hat trick and has a high percentage winning trainer. Number 3, Smart As Me. He has won 3 races out of his last 4
there
races.
Not many like that, Terry.
That's right. And he has a high percentage winning jockey. Number 6, Whiskey Plank, my long shot, ran second versus similar in his last race and was claimed by a trainer who wins 21% of the races in the first race after claiming a horse. And I'm going to bet the number 5, $10 to win.
Well, there you go, Sam. You were looking for a single. Terry likes the 5 in here, as does Melvin in here.
Yeah, but
I have the 5 as my pick too, but
he wants it in the 4th through the 9th, not the 3rd. So.
No, not the 3rd. No, I think he had the 3 singled in his as well, Terry, in the 5th race, in the pick 5. Yeah, right here.
Oh, yeah,
the 5.
Melvin does, but the other guy wanted the 3 through the
so the pick 6. Okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, so it's the next race up, the 4th race. So do you have any singles after that? Roberta, thanks for joining us this morning. The first race results belong to the 4-horse, is your winner. Paid $460 to win the 5-horse, $260 to place the 2-horse. The favorite, or was the favorite when the gates opened, not so much when they got to the wire. That paid $220. The 4-5 exacta for $2 paid $8.60. The $1 trifecta paid $7.30. So again, Terry, I think we're much better off with the pick 3s and pick 5s with the way that race played out.
That's right. And I do have 2 other singles. In the 6th, I have the 1 singled. And in the 8th, I have the 7 singled.
Yeah, I don't know how you singled horses back there, Terry, but you have a lot more brass than I did in the back end. In race 3, I like the 5-horse 2, Harrow, as my top selection in here. This one showed a lot of major upswing late in its last race. And I've noticed from handicapping, when you see just a big dramatic improvement in late pace in the prior race, the following race, the momentum tends to carry over as the horse is probably getting more fit. Ronstadt, the 2-horse. This is Terry's kind of horse. Terry, why is this one your kind of horse?
Oh, it's because it's won 2 out of last 2 races in a row, going for a hat trick, which is a nice favorite angle that I have. So
Yes, indeed. That's exactly what I wrote down. So I do pay attention. So those who say guys don't listen, you're all liars. We do listen. It just depends on if we want to repeat it or not. Anyway, the 2-horse Ronstadt did run better fractions in its February 26th, which was his most recent outing. Smart as me, Terry, nobody can be as smart as you. This is the right distance for this horse, running 3 times with a couple of wins. Did catch some really strong fractions last time and closed into them. The race before that, he closed into some slower fractions. So I think that horse will be able to come in no matter what. And then finally, Cajun Casanova does have that best early speed, late speed combination, likely to be near the front in this race. Big overlay, as we saw in the simulation, Terry. I'm going to do try with the 2-3-5, with the 2-5, with the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, because there's an inside-out bias. So let's take advantage of that.
Yep.
Our next stop on the 9-card race at Tampa Bay. Nice track, by the way. My favorite thing about it is they have Nathan's hot dogs on the inside. If you haven't been there, that's one of the food options. And those are some really good hot dogs. I like them. 6 furlongs, optional claiming, $32,000. Non-winners of 2. The purse is $28,000 at 6 furlongs. Terry, you can imagine speed probably does pretty well. Early speed does indeed win, and 33% of the time it goes wire to wire. You do have a very strong inside 3 penalty, Terry. So pay attention to that, folks. For whatever reason, at 6 furlongs and at 7 furlongs, they've struggled as well. 4 through 7 actually pay the best. 8 and out has it gets to play fair. I don't think that's a situation today. I don't think we have 8 horses in race number 4, Terry. No, indeed, we only have 6. And it looks like, there's all horses but the 1 might have a shot to be on the lead.
That's right. There's going to be, who knows who's going to get to that quarter pole. They're all going to try the 5, 2, and 4 especially. And we'll just have to see which one gets there first. As far as the overlays go, look at that overlay on that 5. Boy, it's supposed to be less than even money. And it's listed at 4-1 on the morning line. So that's pretty darn good. And then as far as the C zones, look at 1 and 2 have really good comfort zones there. And then the 4 has the next best.
Yeah, the 2 inside horses should really get races with paces that fit their preferred running style. And let's take a look at the running styles of the horses in the 4th race here, Terry. As we will see, the 3 and the 6, they look like they want to be on the lead. The 2-horse takes that co-pilot position, so he can be on the front or chase these 2. The 4 and the 5 are your pressure closer types, so they have some versatility in their game. They can win from the front, the middle, or the back. The 1 is a pure closer. As far as the early speed goes at a race where speed matters, the 5, well, minus the 1 horse, the closer, it's pretty competitive. So this tells me it'll be a pretty contentious race up front. So maybe of those speed horses, you want a horse that has a little bit of more late pace. The 1 horse being the lone closer does have late pace advantage over the rest of the field. But again, pretty tight gap from top to bottom. And I suspect that you'll probably see the same thing when we look at the entirety of a race, although the 2 and the 5 stand out relative to the rest of the field. So wouldn't be surprised to see the winner come from the 2 or the 5 based upon those numbers, Terry. What do you say?
Yeah, that might be right, but I'm going to start with the 6. He ran second his last race, can improve at shorter distance and has a high percentage winning trainer. And then that 2 that you were referring to, Chicks Dig Scars, he won his last race.
Now, do they, and why would they? Any lady out there like to tell us why you dig scars? I mean, is that like a sign of like you know, I don't know.
I know,
a rough and tumble type dude. Or
yeah, tough guys. Anyway, he won his last race at Parks Racing and has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. Machismo, number 5 is my 3rd pick. Finished 3rd in his last race, has the highest last speed rating, and his best start speed is fastest among today's starters. I like Happy Cajun as my long shot, the 3. He went up in class in his last race, was bumped at the start, and finished a disappointing 9th. But now he's back down in the allowance race where he has a trainer who wins 25% of the races in allowance races.
Quick question for you, Terry. Last race, there was a Cajun, Casanova. This race, there's a Happy Cajun. Which of the two Cajuns is happier, the Casanova or the one that goes by Happy?
I think the Casanova. So.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely happier. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So it's all right. No bet for me in this race.
All right. So all Casanova jokes aside, if there's such a thing, I got the 5-horse Machismo in this race. That Tampa Bay Downs 4 times out with 3 seconds and a third. Been real close in most of those seconds. They've been like right on the wire. Top last race speed figure, and the resume says that this horse should make a really strong mid-move. And in these 6 furlong races, that move out of the turn a lot of times is where the race is won. Number 2, Chicks Dig Scars is that lone EP horse, as we saw in the Way to the Winner's Circle. This one's going to compete for the lead from the get-going and has a strong chance, as we see on the C-Zone, to get a trip that it's very comfortable with. Number 6, Sogno di Campione. This horse ran in group races down in Chile, which is sort of the equivalent of our graded races here, probably more like high-level allowance races or non-graded black-type stake races. And then this is the first race in almost a year off. That was the last race. Did pretty good in that race. I think it should be better second up, but would have liked to seen a nice workout in between this race and its last race. So the lack of a workout may be a little touch concern that the horse came out of its last start after more than a year off, a little banged up, a little sore. Finally, Bumperdoo at Tampa Bay, 4 times out, 3 seconds in there. Really consistent effort last time out with its pace numbers from beginning to the end. And that was the first race off a layoff. I'm expecting more in round 2 off the sidelines for the lone closer in this field in what could be a competitive race up front. I'm going to do a try, Terry. You did a trifecta too, right?
I did, yes. A 2-6 with the 2-5-6 with the 1-2-3-5-6.
And we did exactly almost the same thing, except I did 2-5-6 up front and 2-5-6 in the middle because I can't really parse much difference between those top 3 horses. And that's why I did that. And Terry asked me, I got a text, did you do that right? Indeed, I did. And then, but it screwed up my money at the back end of the ticket as well. So as usual, when I overspend, Terry breaks out the ruler, busts my knuckles, and lets me know that I can't do that.
Yeah, and Gregory M., we were wondering, assuming you mean the second race, is that true or?
No, he's putting up the first race results there.
Oh, okay. That's
yes, because Roberta asked about that. So
all right.
He put them up in there. Yeah. And I just pressed the wrong button because that's sometimes what I do. Race 5 is another mile on the turf. This one's maiden claiming $16,000. The purse is $15,000. We talked a little bit about what a mile on the turf looks like for winners. Tactical speed, about 1 in 5 horses go wire to wire. You do get a slight inside-outside bias. So if you're breaking a tie between the 1, 2, and 3 or the 4, 5, and 6, look for the inside horses there, Terry. As the post position might do them a little bit of an advantage. As far as our speed simulations in this field with all the outside horses that were also eligible is getting scratched, looks like that 4-horse Sarah Kelly is the one to catch.
Yeah, it doesn't look like she has much, or he has much. No, it's a girl, I guess. Doesn't look like she has much competition here, so she should get there okay. And then as far as the overlay, the only one I really see is the 3-horse, and it's a pretty nice overlay. It's supposed to be just over even money, and it's listed at 8-1 on the morning line. As far as the comfort zones, there's several horses in here. The 4, 9, 5, 2, and 10 all look like if they're in their comfort zone area, they'll be fine.
Yeah, it does look like they should get, again, a race shape that sets up to their liking. Looking at the race shape here, Terry, the 12-horse is a first-time starter. A lot of these horses have not been within 5 lengths of the winner at the finish line, so kind of tough to tell the sort of running style that they have. All the PC horses, all the AEs are out. Terry's what is that from 11 down, right? So
yeah, 11 through 14 are gone.
So the 12 horse is not a factor. The 13 to 14 are not a factor. The 11 is not a factor.
Right.
Of the horses that are in the race, the 2 and the 3 look like they're closers. The 10 horse going to sit right in between the speed and the closers and the horses that haven't shown much. Sometimes those horses get really nice trips. When the gates open so far, it does look like that 4-horse, as we saw, should be the one that's near the front, but you can see here down the stretch, could really struggle. When they come down the stretch, where this race will probably be won, looks like the 3 and the 2-horse Cairo Winner and Cayman Queen, those two will have the most late punch. Put together the early part of the race and the late parts of the race. The 3-horse with that late speed has a 5-point advantage over the 4. The 11's not in. So again, I wouldn't be surprised to see the winner come from either the 3 or the 4 based upon the race shapes there, Terry. How do you play it out?
Well, to me, this is the most wide open race in the whole day. So I'm actually going with one that's in that mid-level of where you're talking there. It's the 8. She ran second versus similar in her last race. Then I like the number 10, My Baton Rouge. She finished third versus similar under dirt in his or her last race. Then Cayman Queen. She took 5 months off after finishing third versus Tougher in her last race at Santa Anita. Her best dirts, her breeding suggests she will like the grass. And, I'm sorry, that's the wrong. No, don't. That's the wrong description for Cayman Queen. So, and then number 3, she finished third versus the similar in her last race. I did not change my description when we had that late scratch. So, anyway.
That happens. Good morning, Therese. How are you today? Thanks for joining us. She's calling us gentlemen, Terry. She don't know us very well, do she?
No.
No, Terry is an absolute gentleman. As for myself, I don't know. I open doors and stuff like that. My mom taught me well, I guess. I like the 3-horse Cairo Winner. It does have that best early speed, late speed combination with the 5-point advantage over everybody else. Did show some and exhibit some late pace improvement in her most recent effort. And again, you got that nice overlay according to the simulator. And again, yesterday we mentioned that we had some people do some work for us and they're monitoring the numbers. And the horse that ranks first on the sim odds wins at a high rate, but usually at low odds. The one that generates the most ROI is the second favorite, which is the 5-horse, it looks like in this race, according to the simulator. But for me, the second horse is Cayman Queen. Tampa Bay turf 3 times out with a couple of seconds. And what I like about the horse is it's getting incrementally better. Not a big improvement from race to race, but you can see that progression from race, a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. Maybe today it can be a little bit better enough to win. Number 8, Carcrive. I have no idea if I pronounced that correctly. This is our good friend Chris Parmalou's angle. The horse did finish second last time out. So if it had beaten any other horse but the one who won, it would have broken its maiden. So it only had to beat one last time. Maybe it doesn't have to beat any of them this time. Did show some early pace in the last, and I'm expecting this horse to be better in its second start off a layoff with its second dose of Lasix. Finally, number 5, Empire Girl. This one's been getting consistently better with its late pace numbers in its last 3 races. That has to be taken as an indication that the horse is in form. I'm going to do a trifecta here, 2-3-8 with the 2-3, with the 2-3-5, 2-3-4-5 and 8, Terry. And you have a pick 5 here.
I do, and I'm using the 2, 3, 5, 8, and 10 because I think it's a pretty wide open race. I'm going to single the 1, and then I'm going to use the 2, 4, 7, and then single the 7, and then I'm going to use the 2, 6 at the end.
That's like I said, you got a lot more courage than I do in that respect, Terry, because I just could not find the way to do that. So you want more workouts? Okay, you got more workouts. Do I like more workouts in terms of horses? You mean running, Rock and Ray? Just from talking to a lot of trainers and stuff like that come on our show, particularly the Horse Center show, the folks that we've talked to and the people that we know in the business. Parks pick 5, race 1, the 1 with the 3, with the 5, 6, with the 1, 2, with the 1, 2, 6. I'll leave that up there. A lot of trainers that we've talked to have told us, Rock and Ray, they like to have a workout in between races because it's a sign that the horse is ready to go. It's being rambunctious. I mean, it's just trying to read between the lines a little bit. I also like to look back and see if in previous races the horse had a workout between races. There's not an end-all, be-all. Unfortunately, I wish we could find the holy grail of picking the winner in every single race. Again, I say it before, it's just a mosaic. Take the most information that you can put together, and then from that information, which horse grades out as the best in your opinion. And that's the creative process as far as I'm concerned, and what makes horse racing fun. How about for you, Terry?
Yeah, it does. I enjoyed it because it takes it's a lot. I don't like slot machines because there's nothing to think about unless you're playing, I guess, but poker machine. But I like it because you have to do a lot of the work, and I feel very creative, and I'm also very competitive, so that makes it nice that way. I like to win.
Yeah, for me, it's a creative process, like trying to find that, trying to pick a lock, like a bank thief, so to speak, because we're trying to take the money out of the money pool. Race 6, they're going to run 1 mile and 40 yards. It's claiming 10,000 for a purse of 17 grand. The profile of a winner for 1 mile and 40 yards does favor early speed. About a quarter of the time, 23% so far, they've gone wire to wire. The post positions are mostly fair here, Terry. An 8 and out, though, does get a little bit of a bonus. If we look at race number 6, in terms of early speed, it looks like the 2 and the 3 are going to be dueling.
It does. They're going to go head and head all the way to that quarter pole. And then as far as the overlays go, you got the 2 with the pretty nice overlay, supposed to be 5-2 on the morning line. It's listed at 8-1. The 5 is list a little bit over even money, and it's listed at 41 on the morning line. And then the 8 is about almost double what the simulated odds would say. And then as far as the C zones, they all are pretty big C zone numbers. So
yeah, you got a lot of deep green ones there for sure, especially on the outside.
That's right. And let me announce that Melvin's number 1 horse, a single in that first race, won easily.
Good job. All right. That's what we like to see. We also like to see what the favored race shape of these horses might be. The 2 horse is your Lone E, one that likes to be on the front. If it gets on the front, it does run its best. And according to our recency bias, the 2 and the 3 will be the ones out there on the front. So that means that 3 horse, which is normally a closer, would be a left arrow horse, Terry. And I don't know how to quite draw a left arrow on Google Sheets yet. But it will be one that's usually a closer that should be more forwardly placed. The 7 horse, pressure horse, might be a little bit more forwardly placed than it, or based upon the pace, might be a little bit farther back than it wants to be. As far as the late pace is concerned, you have 4 horses here that have a lot of similar numbers. The 7, Ghost Stalker, Hard Lightning, Indian Buzz, and Its Fate. So if the track bias flips to horses that coming off the pace, keep an eye on these quartet. As far as the complete race from beginning to end is concerned, this looks like a very competitive race between the 7, the 8, the 4, and the 2, maybe even put in the 5 there. So maybe the 1, 3, and 6 have their work cut out for them, Terry. Do you got any of those?
Yeah, I do. I like the 1 a lot in this race. He ran second versus similar in his last race, switches to a high percentage winning trainer, and this trainer wins 30% of the time when bringing back a beaten favorite again, and he has a high percentage winning jockey. I like the 5, Hard Lightning. He finished 3rd versus similar in his last race, has the highest last race speed rating. He's actually tied with another horse and has a good 4 furlong workout on March 30th. Number 7, Ghost Stalker's my 3rd pick, finished in the money in 44% of the races at Parks Racing and has a high percentage winning jockey. The 3, Savage, finished 3rd versus similar in his last race and switches a high percentage winning trainer. He is one of my my long shots. And then I'm going to play a pick 4. I'm going to single the 1. And then I'm going to go with the 2-4-7, and then the 7-8, and then the 2-6. And I'm going to bet $6 to win on that 1.
So Rockin' Races, when they're working out, you got horses in front and back. Workout, you got room, so you can run around for sure. The track is in great condition. No doubt about that. Good and quiet. When I was at the backside there at Tampa Bay Downs, they definitely had a good track there, but I don't know. There was a lot of activity going on. The horses coming every which direction, which is a little bit more chaotic than you see there. And then on the track, yeah, I agree with you. You do see Secretariat a lot of times in some of those workouts, but still a little clue for me. And it's worked well, so that's kind of why I use it. And again, that's the fun part about horse racing is everybody has their angle. It's kind of like playing poker, right? Everybody, all the available public information ends up in the money pool. So the way that Rock and Ray thinks, the way that Terry thinks, what the insiders think, what the people who pick horses based upon name or the horse's color, all of that information goes into the bets. And then that money, that stake is then every piece of publicly available information and some private available information. So all information in the pool representing the odds. And then it's your job to be smarter than everybody else. Trapezoid is the lone E-horse in here, taking a small dip in class back to a level that should be a better fit. And as you can see, this race fits his running style pretty well. Number 1, Cuz, first off the claim again for trainer John Arnett, 22% winner for him versus 17% overall. That is an alpha angle, and he does have a nice workout. So maybe we're going to get a boom secretariat race out of him today. 7, Ghost Stalker. The start is everything for this horse. If he gets off to a good start, he'll be in contention to the end. According to the C-Zone, he should get a pace that sets up well for him. If he doesn't get off to a good break, you could pretty much write him off. At least that's been his resume so far. And then finally, Hard Lightning. Isn't that a drink, Terry? Something like that. Anyway.
Yeah, I think it is.
I think it's called Hard Lemonade or something like that. It was not an easy call for me over the 4-horse It's Fate, but this horse has been at Tampa Bay 6 races, finished 3rd in 5 of them, so I should probably have it where the 7 is, and does have a nice workout in between races as well. I'm going to do a pick 4, 1, 2, 7 with the 3, 7, 9 with the 3, 4, 7, 8 with the 1, 2, 6. So you can see, Terry, I really thought this back half of the card was going to be kind of difficult. All right, let's rewind back to race number 2 because they're about 2 minutes to put 1 minute to post there, Terry.
Okay.
Right now for the second race, well, we both like the 3 and the 2. Looking at the odds right now, that 2-horse, though, is a 1-5 favorite. So I think from your pick 5 perspective, our pick 4 perspective, we'd both rather see our top pick win.
Yeah, I think we would.
Yeah, he's up to 2-5 now. So those are, a lot of money flowing in on that 2-horse there.
Wow.
And looking at the simulated odds, it should be about 3-5 is what it's saying, which is about where they put the morning line at. I think that's that Gulfstream Park dropper, right?
Mm-hmm.
I sort of have a problem with a 2-5. This is a maiden race, right? Yeah. Don't you have a problem with a 3-5 or a 2-5 in a maiden race?
I do, absolutely. I wouldn't bet it in a maiden race. So, as far as win, I wouldn't bet it to win. So.
No, yeah, it's tough to bet it to win. We both have it on our picks because of that Gulfstream drop. Probably is the main reason why.
Yeah, I like the horse for that reason, but I'm hoping. Well, I don't know. Melvin likes the 2 as a single, so we'll have to see. And he might be just right here.
He could be. Again, here you see it is a 7-furlong race, maiden claiming $32,000. That 2-horse with Antonio Gallardo on there. Now, if there's a guy that has a voice for radio, that's Antonio. He's really got a gruffy voice, really sounds very much, and this is probably dating us, and a lot of people probably have no idea what I'm talking about, but very Wolfman Jack-esque. Do you remember him, Terry?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. He's from Los Angeles area, DJ down there.
Mm-hmm. One of the early, I would say, pioneers of being a DJ. No, at least that's during my lifetime. But
yeah, he was very popular. I remember
with that scratchy voice.
Yeah.
Wolfman Jack here. Maybe that's why he called himself Wolfman. Anybody else remember Wolfman Jack? So the 3-horse Broken Hearts Bay, our top pick, Terry, been running a lot more races, a little more heavily raced. If you just look, and again, the Gulfstream numbers usually pop a little higher when they come up to Tampa Bay Downs, but the early pace not there. These late pace numbers probably what people are really drawn to, aside from the fact that the horse is dropping from an $84,000 maiden special weight to Tampa Bay. So you got a track drop and a class drop.
Yeah.
The 2 times the horse was out at Gulfstream Park certainly did get well bet. So there was some good thought on the grounds that the horse could do pretty well. And if you look here, you do see last time out, one of the horses that it lost to, it is italicized, meaning that horse came back to win its next race.
Correct.
Some people look at that and say that's a key race in terms of what they're looking at. This workout here, this is a pretty good workout right here, Terry, right?
It is. It's
March
a good
26th.
One. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good workout.
Since that February race, it's had 3 workouts, total of 4 plus 5, 9. So 13 furlongs of workout. So the horse should remain fit. Looks like the trainer going sprint route. Sprint's only won 1 of 16 and only 30% in the money. So 5 out of 16 in the money. Big negative ROI.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm hoping that he doesn't win. Sorry, Melvin. He might, though. I think the class is there relative to everybody else, so to speak.
Yep.
All right. So let's take a look at what the simulator said. It says she's an Arctic Queen is the one that's likely to bust to the gate out and get to the lead. Although everybody else does have a chance minus the 2-horse to have the lead. Although that class drop probably pushes that 2-horse a little bit more forward than it showed at Gulfstream Park. They're all in, getting ready to go, and the doors have opened, and the 1-horse kind of slowish out of the gate and now rushing up to the lead as we thought it might. The 5-horse got a pretty nice break, but the 1-horse clears, Terry, as we thought it might. It's about a length ahead of everybody else. That 2-horse indeed did push up a little bit closer to the front. Running second to the outside, you got that 4-horse, Sea Witch. And then to the outside of that, well, they're all kind of bunched up in there. The 3 horses trying to make a move up the rail on Broken Hearts Bay. They're kind of stretching out a little bit with the 1 on the lead in the opening quarter, 23 and 14. The 2 horses in the 2 path. The 3 is on the rail, Broken Hearts Bay. A little bit of a gap then off to the 4-horse, Sandwich. Out to the outside of it is Stellar Nova. And way behind the pack is the 6-horse. They come around the turn here in the second race. Again, the 1-horse maintains the lead. The 2 is cautiously stalking up on the outside. The 3-horse Broken Hearts Bay has made its move, Terry, pulled up alongside that 2-horse. The 2 of them have decided to waylaced to the 1-horse as they come through the turn. This race looks like it's going to be a battle of who's got the most will as they come down the stretch between the 2 and the 3. Does the Gulfstream track dropper have the heart to hold on? It's getting a little bit of a right-handed whip, kind of maintaining its lead. The jockey's not really asking for any more because the horse is starting to come out. It's going to be the 2-horse, Harry. It's going to go 2. Congratulations, Melvin. The 3, and then it looks like I can't really tell. The 3-horse, that can't be the 3-horse. Who's wearing blue, Terry? It looks like the 5-horse came in third.
Okay.
So 3, 2, and 5.
5-horse, yeah.
I mean, 2. Why are they showing the 3-horse? The 2-horse one, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, because they're showing the 3-horse up on I'm pretty sure the 2-horse one. Am I? Yeah, it went 2, 3, and then the 5-horse.
It was close, though.
Half a length.
Yeah, closer than I thought it might be.
2, 3,
I was
5.
just trying to beat that hard favorite's what I was trying to do.
Yeah, well, it didn't work out that way, unfortunately. So 2, 3, 5. Terry stays alive in his pick 4. He's alive in his pick 5, and I probably hit a 30-cent trifecta.
Yeah, I got my double too, although it's not going to pay much.
No, well, the name of the game is picking winners, right, Larry? Larry. Why would I call you Larry, Terry?
I have no idea.
Where the hell did that come from?
I don't know. So I broke even on my doubles, so I'm going to pay 4.
Well, I mean, it's there's no value in losing bets, Terry.
That's true.
At least if you get your money back, you can put that in your pocket and get yourself a Nathan's hot dog if you're down there at Tampa Bay Downs.
Yeah, I like Casper's.
You're like, I haven't had one of those. So when I come out to visit you, Terry, which I'm going to do before
I'll take
too
you
long,
to Casper's.
Wonderful. And I'll let you know if they're better than Nathan's.
Okay.
1 1/16 miles on the turf for race number 7, claiming 16,000 non-winners of 2 lifetime. The purse is $16,600. At this mile and a 16th, there's a tactical speed. Again, you probably want to be 3rd or 4th, maybe 2nd, somewhere in there. Although you do have a fair chance to go wire to wire at 16%. There's a very small rail bias for Dura the Explorer versus Dora the Explorer, Terry's favorite cartoon character. Everything else plays kind of fair, Terry. In race number 7, as far as our simulations are concerned, looks like the 5-horse and the 1-horse and the 9-horse will be running fast when the gates open.
That's right. Looks like it. But I think that 5 is going to make it there first. So you just never know. Depends on the break. And then as far as the overlay, the only overlay is that 7's a small overlay.
So the line maker did good there.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 2-1 simulated odds, and it's 3-1 in the morning line. And then as far as the C zones, look at that nice 90 on both that 5 and 9. Those are pretty nice. And then there's a couple more that have it. There's a couple of scratches in here that really affected my ticket. So
especially that 8-horse coming out. That was one I think.
Yeah.
It looked maybe like a standout in this group.
It did to me too. So it changed my tickets up quite a bit.
which is why I had a very hard time, putting together all those pick fours and stuff. It looks like the 5 horse indeed, Terry. According to Racing Style, that one wants to be on the lead. The 1, the 3, and the 9, they kind of want to sit behind, be a little bit patient. Again, these are all horses that are this is a maiden race, Terry, or not? No, it's a claiming race. So they have won in the past, and this is the running style that they prefer when they win. When the gates are open and the turf starts flying, that one horse might be the one, Dura the Explorer, that's on the lead. It looks pretty competitive, though, from top to bottom. Maybe a little drop-off after the 9. In the late pace, which should come into some factor here, especially at a mile and a 16th. It looks like you got a quartet of horses. The 6 horse Beastie Girl, the 9 horse She's Quality, the 7 horse Liz Queen. I have no what comes after that, and Wasser, and then put together the entirety of the race. So from beginning to end, the 6 horse and the 9 horse and the 5 horse. Well, again, pretty competitive. I think this is a wide open race based upon what we see here, Terry. What do you say?
Yeah, you're right. It's just as wide open as that 5th race was, and it's. But I like the 7 Investment Income. She has the highest speed figure at today's distance and a good workout on March 29th. And then number 4, Liz Queen. However it says
Liz Queen's Fleur d'Elis. So
yes,
Liz Queen flower something. I don't know what a Delis is. I know a Fleur is a flower.
They're crazy on some of these horse names. Anyway, she finished in the money in 3 out of her last 4 races, so she's very competitive, and the distance won't be a problem. Number 2, Challenge Miss Princess, has a high percentage winning jockey and trainer. And then 9 is my long shot. She just qualified. She's Just Quality. She seems to like the turf as her best turf speed, is fastest among today's starters. And I don't have a bet in this race. I think I've ran out of money. So.
You are the accountant. I like She's Just Quality, Terry. 3rd start off, a layoff, the most recent 3-race cycle. The 3rd off the bench was the best of the trio, and actually it was a win. Catching a little bit of a weight break in here today, too, and should get a really good trip. Comfortable pace with that 91% C-zone score. Investment Income. This one has the best turf breeding in this class here for this race. Distance, 6 times out with a win and a trio of 3rds, so it can handle the mile and a 16th. Does have a nice workout in between races, too, so the horse should be fresh and fit. Wasser, the 3 horse. I was contemplating actually putting this one first. This one had better pace numbers from the beginning to the middle of its last race, all culminating in the top last race speed figure. And if you look at the fractions, the final time, about a half a second faster than it ran in its prior effort. Number 4, Liz Queen Flores d'Elis. Yes, we got that right. Last race was an improvement over the last time she ran at a mile. And I think adding that extra 16th of a distance of a mile should help this horse because it does have some extra late pace as well of late. I'm going to do the try with the 3-7-9, with the 7-9, with the 3, 4, 5, 7, and 9. Race 8, Terry, which is the second to last race. They're going to run another mile and 40-yard race here. This one is on the dirt. Maiden claiming 10,000 for a purse of 13 grand. So you got to probably pay attention a little bit to class droppers here. As we mentioned earlier, a mile and 40 yards does favor some early speed. 23% go wire to wire. Post positions play mostly fair. 1 through 7 do pretty good. 8 and out, it does look like you get a little bit of a bonus. If we take a look in race number 8, Terry, at what the simulators have to say, it looks like it could be pretty competitive early on.
It is, although the 2 outside horses have the most early speed, but like you said, that you just never know who's going to get there. There's lots of speed, so who knows what's going to happen. And then there's a really nice overlay on that 3 horse. It's supposed to be less than even money, and it comes out at 6-1 in the morning line. As far as the most best C-zone numbers, that'd be the 9 and the 10, as you see there.
The 10 all by itself up there at about 82%, and neither one of us have him in there. And if you've watched the show and you pay attention to these C-zone scores, there's been at least one trifecta I can think about every day where the top 3 or 4 C-zone scores combined for a nice trifecta.
Well, yeah, there was one the other day paid over $1,000. So.
Yeah, it's again, the only place you can get it is here, and that's why you want to tell your friends about what we're doing. We're trying to bring a different perspective to horse racing in terms of what the data is telling us. Here, the previous race starts tell us that the 10 horse wants to be on the lead. Got a couple pressure horses with the 2 and the 7. So far, the 1, 4, 5, and 9 of late haven't finished within 5 lengths of the leader. The 3, 6, and the 8 are your closing bunch in here. Just this kind of race setup typically tends to favor horses that are a little bit more forwardly placed. As far as that early speed goes, that 10 horse Terry should be the one that's setting the tone. Although, again, you see a pretty competitive, only an 11-point gap from top to bottom. Late pace, when they are coming home, you do have a trio of horses in here. The 3, Angelic Storm, the 4, Flash Deer, and Wine with the Rose. They have a distinct advantage over the rest of this field. Put together the beginning and the end. And again, you see the 3, the 4, and the 8 with a distinct advantage over the rest of the field. Wouldn't be shocked to see the winner come from the 3, 4, and or 8, Terry.
All right. Well, I like the 7, and she finished third versus similar in her last race. She has the highest last speed rating. Then I like 8 as my second pick, Wine with the Rose. She finished third versus similar in her last race. The 2, Sunshine Girl, has a high percentage winning trainer and a jockey, and it's got a good workout on March 29th. And then number 3, Angelic Storm is my long shot. She finished third versus similar in her last race, and her best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters. I have no money left, so I'll have no bet.
I had a bet, but I went over my budget. So before the show started, I got reprimanded. And number 3, Angelic Storm. This one's likely to improve. And our good friend Charles, who will join me tomorrow for Gulfstream Park, this is his favorite handicapping angle. Third start after a layoff, and this will be the third run at Tampa Bay Downs. So lots of reasons for this horse to be better today. And it's wearing number 3. So 333. There's got to be something in numerology. If there's any numerologists out there, let us know the significance of 3, 3, and 3. Number 8, Wine with the Rose, ran a major Z pattern last time out. Let's take a look at the Z pattern too, Terry, for this 8-horse Wine with the Rose. If you look here in the early, and you look at the pace figures, you see this first one, 72 on the early pace. Mm-hmm. Then on the next one, it dropped to 54, right? And then in the late pace, so to speak, got its second wind. Right? Yeah, 75. So it should probably be more a V pattern, but I guess they call it a Z pattern. That's about as dramatic as a Z pattern as you're going to see. And this horse has done okay at the distance, 2 times out with the third. So maybe, the distance won't be a problem, 1 mile and 40 yards. Off to my third pick, the 4-horse Flash Deer. Flash Deer is the most lightly raced horse in the field. Just needs a little bit of a pop from what it's put on tape in the first 2 races to be competitive or maybe even win here. And when you're looking at these races, these maiden claiming races, and everybody's ran a lot, and you kind of get a sense of what their range is. If there's a horse that's only run once or twice or not at all, it has an opportunity to improve and show something it hasn't so far. I tend to put those horses in there all the time. Number 7, Tip Hera, did run the top last race. Speed Figure is running Charles's favorite handicapping angle as well with the third up. Catching a weight break here, and it's been at the distance 3 times with a second and a third. So been close to winning at 1 mile and 40 yards. Again, I didn't have any money, but I was going to do a double with my 3 and my top 4 picks in race number 9, which is the final race today on the Tampa Bay card. Final race for you and I, Terry, because you'll be off tomorrow as Charles comes back for Gulfstream. Race 9 is 1 mile and a 16th on the turf. Second time they're going to run this far on the day. Again, tactical speed. So chasing the leader, you don't necessarily want to be on the lead, but if you are, you still have a 16% chance to win. There is a slight rail bias. Everything else plays kind of fair. Again, another maiden race, a maiden claiming $16,000, Terry. In the 9th race, got a couple scratches with the 11 and the 12. I sort of like the 12, but I don't anymore. What do you see here?
Well, the 1 and the 10 have a little bit of speed, but other than that, there's not too much more in there. Maybe the 8. And then as far as the overlays go, the 2 horses have got the most speed. It's got the overlays. A little bit on the 1 where it's listed simulated odds at like 5-2 and listed at 3-1. And then the 10. Well, the 10 actually doesn't have any overlays. So
yeah, but he's got a good C-zone score and the 4.
Yeah, he has a really good C-zone score, and so does the 4, and then 2 has a decent one. So
you're just looking at the odds on the top 3 C-zone horses. You got a 20-1, a 10-1, and a 9-2. indication maybe that this race is going to be wide open. I think it's going to be wide open, Terry. Our way to the winner's circle worksheet shows that the 4 and 10 prefer to be forwardly placed when they run their best races. The 2, the 6, and the 8. So all the even number horses, Terry, minus the 12 are going to, but the 11 and 12 is out. So all the even horses are going to be forward. All the odd horses are going to be trying to chase those even horses down. As far as the early race recency bias goes, you got a pretty competitive race here early on, although the 1 does benefit from the 12 being out. So maybe that's an odd horse that can get involved. Looking at the late pace, maybe where this horse race will be won. You have the 4 and the 2 and the 6. So remember the tune, Lord of the Nile, Take Over Cash, have some of the most late pace. Maybe one of those horses that'll be close to the front will have a good job. And then looking at this, the 2, the 4, the 6, and the 8. So the inside even numbers look like they have an advantage over the rest of the field. Once again, I would suspect that there's a good chance that either the 2, the 6, the 4, or the 8 might steal this one, Terry. Who do you think captures the last race of the day?
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think that 6 Take Over Cash he's going to do really well. He finished 3rd versus similar in his last race and switches the high percentage winning jockey. The 2, as you referred to, Lord of the Nile, he ran 2nd versus similar in his last race, so he'll do pretty well, I think. The 1, Sterling's Gold, he finished 3rd versus tougher on the dirt in his last race, drops in class today, and has the highest race speed rating, last race speed rating. And then the 4 is my long shot. Remember the tune. He drops in the class today, so he should do all right.
Finally, Melvin says to do Mahoning Valley. If you want to, there's a link down in the description below, Melvin. It is the free track today over at Guaranteed Tip Sheet. So if you're going to play Mahoning Valley, please use the link in the description here on YouTube. Also, the description you find on our social sites. Click on that so they know where you're coming from, and you can check out all the free picks today. I had a big hand in handicapping those races. The final picks for me today, Take Over Cash, Terry. So we're hoping to take over some cash out of those money pools today. Held the lead late in the last race when it was the favorite. I think switching to jockey Sammy Camacho now tells you that trainer Maxine Correa thinks this one is absolutely ready to graduate. The 2 horse, Lord of the Nile. If you like the 6 horse, you also got to like the 2 horse because they faced off in the last 3 races together. And they've been very competitive. I think the 6 horse one finished ahead of the 2 horse 2 out of 3. Finally, the 1 horse, the 3rd horse, Sterling's Gold, is a maiden special weight track dropper coming in from Indiana Grand or Indianapolis. What do they call it now, Terry? Indianapolis what? Horseshoe Indianapolis.
Horseshoe Indianapolis, that's right.
Is that a track drop to or you think those are par tracks, Horseshoe Indianapolis and Tampa? I think they're probably equals.
They are, I think, yeah.
This horse last run at Horseshoe Indianapolis in June, it put up the top last race speed figure. Here's a case where the workouts are just, to me, so not all that convincing. Finally, the 4 horse, remember the tune, been off for more than a year, going to drop in class from its last run, but unfortunately the works are not all that inspiring, but still looks like with the the class drop, if it runs to its ability, looks like it's going to get a good setup. Could perform well. Trifecta 1, 2, 6, 2, 6 with the 1, 2, 4, 6, and 8 to close out the picks for Tampa Bay Downs today. Again, tomorrow, Charles and I will get together probably about 20 minutes after we started today for Gulfstream Park. So you're going to want to make sure you tune in for that. And the best way to make sure you don't miss Charles or I or Terry and I when we come back next Monday or Tuesday for Parks. Terry, what you got to do?
Yeah, you've got to subscribe on YouTube and hit that little bell so that you're told when we're coming on for all of our different shows, podcasts. Go to our sites or social sites like Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter at the horse race, the number 2 day. Give us likes and thumbs ups on all those places. Let everybody you know that what we're doing here and that they should take a look at us. We want to try to get to 10,000 subscribers on YouTube this year. So help us out with that.
And we get to 10,000. Hopefully it'll help us generate a little bit of revenue. And with that revenue, we'll be able to create some fantastic content and data, which we will share with you. Again, tonight at 8 o'clock, don't forget to join Eurico Da Silva. He will be joining Julie and Sean, ex-jockey, now motivational speaker. So if you want to get pumped up for Thursday with Charming Charles and Rich, make sure you tune in for that at 8 o'clock tonight. Baseball is in full swing. Our good friend Picks with the Professor. Again, a link down in the description. If there's any sport that's driven by data, statistics. That's baseball. That is the right in Professor Side strike zone. He sees those laces coming, and he hits those baseball picks out of the park, at least a lot of times. You can catch his picks and show. Again, a link in the description down below, Terry. That wraps us up for today. I don't think I forgot it. Oh, we will have a wagering guide for this weekend's Bluegrass Stakes over at Guaranteed Tip Sheet. Make sure you tune into that. I'll have that all up and ready by Friday morning over there. A lot of in-depth research, a lot of what you see here, and even more that we put into those picks on the terms of the output than you see here. All right, Terry, that wraps us up. Any final thoughts before you jet up out of here on Hump Day? Hey Day.
Yeah, just make sure you tell your loved ones and friends and whoever you want, who's ever in your life, how you feel about them. Give them a hug, kiss, whatever, because you never know what day is going to be the final day. And I hope everybody in that Midwest that's had all those terrible storms, I hope they get through it okay. And my heart goes out to the ones who've been hurt or lost loved ones. Other than that, just have a great rest of the week.
Now, you mentioned, Terry, Steve Jobs. Great quote I have from Steve Jobs. And you think about the success that man had. He said every day he'd get up in the mirror and he'd look in the mirror and he'd say to himself, if today was the last day of my life, which it might, well, maybe for some people it will be, unfortunately, would I do what I am about to do? And if the answer is yes, then you know you're in the right place. He said if the answer was no too many days in a row, that he had to make some changes to get himself back to that. He said, knowing that you're going to die, if you really embrace that and not necessarily fear it, then you'll realize that you have absolutely nothing to lose in chasing your dreams, right? So with that being said, we hope that along with chasing your dreams, that you catch God's favor on that. He helps push you in that direction. And that no matter what it is you're doing on this Hollywood Hey Hump Day, got it right there. It ends up in one place, and that can only be our good friend, Jay Marco's
Winner's Circle.
Yes, indeed. Thanks for joining us today. Again, look forward to joining you again tomorrow for Gulfstream Park. Till then, fantastic day.